Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. I thought today we would go a little aside, and we've been looking mostly at the epistles for the last week or so, but I thought let's take a look at one of the lessons that's assigned for morning prayer, and that is from the book Exodus. Now, of course, the book Genesis we went through for quite a bit earlier in the year. The book Exodus, the next book, is the one that deals with, of course, the time that the people of Israel have now left their slavery and are headed into ultimately what will be the Promised Land. And so Moses, of course, at the beginning of this book, plays a very prominent role in the story of what God is doing with the people of Israel. We're already up to chapter 19, and I thought I would read to you a little bit about this. It's about 3 months into their traveling out of Egypt, having been led through the Red Sea after the angel of death passed over their firstborn but destroyed the firstborn of the people of the Egyptians. And so it is that as they're making their way across, now Moses is about to have an encounter with God as well as the people of Israel on Mount Sinai. Chapter 19, we'll pick up at verse number 3. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountains, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a particular treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning, that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long, and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon the Mount Sinai, on the top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. Now, so again, God is reaffirming what is the original covenant that he began with Abraham. Remember that God chose Abraham and his descendants to be a particular people, right? A peculiar people, a people who would have a special relationship with what we call the covenant, the original covenant. When we refer to the older books of the Bible, as the Old Testament, another word for testament is covenant. And these are the books of the original covenant between God and the people of Abraham. Here we have Moses, generations later, reminding the people of the Jews that in fact they are called to be this peculiar people, this particular people, because of that original covenant. But remember what God says. He says that they are to be faithful to him. They are called to be in relationship with him. And ultimately on Mount Sinai, God will give Moses what we know as the 10 Commandments. Now, I hope we've read ahead in the book, and we know that the people of Israel have had times when they've been pretty good about keeping the covenant, and there have been times in their history when they have not been as good, and they suffer the consequences of it. But here is God setting up for them this reality. In speaking to Moses, and Moses inviting the people to see the power of God on Mount Sinai, that they will hopefully have their hearts moved, right? They should already have their hearts moved because they've seen what God did with the angel of death and with the Red Sea, right? But as we know, what will happen quickly, that things are going to happen and they're going to turn away from God. Unfortunately, they're going to worship a molten image. They're going to complain about not having food and all of those things as if God is not going to provide for them. So we certainly see that they are fallen in every way that we are fallen. Thanks be to God in this new covenant that we have through the blood of Jesus Christ, that it's not about our being able to do all the things right, but in us to be faithful as God has called us to faithfulness, and to continue to trust in his mercy and in his love. Today is Thursday, and we start our new kind of a summer schedule for Thursdays because of Tiger baseball home games and traffic and access issues. Our 10 10:30 service is now at 9 o'clock on Thursdays. Okay, so we don't have a 10:30 service today. We have a 9 a.m. service, and that'll allow us time to get here and to be out of the lot in time for all of the chaos that can be a weekday Tigers baseball game. We're grateful to have that kind of busyness in our neighborhood. So please do either join us live and in person, or join us online at stjohnsdetroit.org. And I hope that you have a blessed Thursday.